event. I'm Yulia from Crust Network, and we have our lovely panelists here from all of the Polkadot parachains that are based in SF. So give it up for them, everybody, and give it up for yourself. Okay, so I think we'll just start off a little bit letting people introduce themselves and the project that they are from. Chris?
Hey guys, the panel starts. Come over.
Okay, we're gonna wait for more people to walk over. So I'll just kind of introduce why we're doing a event series in San Francisco. If you guys don't know, Polkadot is one of the biggest crypto projects, but it has most of its presence in Europe. So all of us SF-based projects, we are trying to bring Polkadot to SF. So we're going to be hosting events every month here at Mindspaces, same spot, usually at the end of the month, unless there's a conflicting conference. So yeah, and all of us, we are parachain projects, which is like projects that build on top of Polkadot. Okay, I think Chris, you can introduce yourself.
All right, thanks Yulia for hosting this Polkadot SF series of the event. As Yulia said, Polkadot is actually, I think, the #1 blockchain in the Europe area. But people don't come to the area very often, so the purpose of this series, this event series, is to build up the presence and tell people a little bit more about Polkadot in the Bay Area. I'm Chris, CEO of Oak Network, which is the parachain of Polkadot ecosystem. And our project aims to be the Stripe of Web3. So basically, we're creating an automatic payment system and a trading system for the blockchain. What it means is that it's basically using the most cutting-edge decentralized technology to make sure your asset, like when you move money automatically, your asset never leaves the authority, the ownership of your wallet. So today, many similar solutions like auto compounding, like automatic payments, they leverage smart contracts, but your asset actually stays in the smart contract. So they manage it for you on Ether. So our goal is to change that. So you manage yourself, nobody else. I mean, your asset always stays within the control of your wallet.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kevin Hiddleston. I'm a developer relations engineer at Moonbeam. And first of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to you all for joining us here tonight. I know you have a lot of options during SF Tech Week. There's a ton going on. We are honored you're here, and we're thrilled to be able to be here to talk to you about Polkadot and its parachains. So Moonbeam is a parachain on top of Polkadot. We started by bringing Ethereum compatibility to Polkadot so that developers could take their dApps that were launched on Ethereum and launch them very easily on Polkadot. Since then, we've been working on adding tons of cross-chain connections to other chains within Polkadot, such as Oak Network, and also we've been focused on general message passing, so that means connecting to chains outside of Polkadot, so connecting to Ethereum and Polygon and things of that nature. So you can call a contract on any chain from Moonbeam.
Hello everyone, my name is Vitaly, I'm from Robonomics, and we are building infrastructure for connecting smart devices and robotics. So similar to what my colleagues described, we are also focusing on giving back the ownership of data to the users, but with a specific focus on data coming from different devices. So all the use cases can range from your smart home, where instead of you deploying a centralized cloud solution, you can work with the infrastructure provided by us and powered by Polkadot, all the way to really complex robotics cases as in industrial sites and even robotic dogs.
Okay. Sorry. Awesome. So I'm Yuvia. I'm from Crust Network. We're a decentralized cloud storage protocol, which is basically an incentive layer for IPFS, but it's super fast and also native to Polkadot. So anybody can use us fully native that builds on Polkadot, and also I forgot what I was saying, but yeah, that's basically it. We're basically like Filecoin, but super fast and secure. And then if you guys don't know about Polkadot, Polkadot is a layer 0 meta protocol. So basically it's a project that connects all other projects. And that's why our teams, even though we're building on separate projects, we're like super close and tight because it's really easy for all of us to work together because we all use Polkadot. All right, so I think we can move on to our second question now. How is your project involved with Polkadot, and what value are you providing to the Polkadot community?
Cool. So I want to ask a question to the audience first. This is a Polkadot 101, and how many people have heard of Polkadot before? Only a couple. What about the rest of the folks? First time hearing Polkadot? So could anybody describe Polkadot with one or two sentences? Anybody want to try? They're smiling. They're trying. Do you want to give it a try? Okay. You want to give it a try? No, give it a try. By the way, we don't have rewards for this. She's shy. Basically, so I just showed one of the audience that Polkadot is top 10 on CoinMarketCap. Basically, that's a very easy way to categorize like how big we are of the entire ecosystem. But I would say like Polkadot is an undervalued project ecosystem in general. Basically, the technology they build is called, we call it a layer 0. It connects all the parachains. So each of our projects are building a blockchain project and the Polkadot connectors. Also, I think Moonbeam has had a tweet about like educating the what is Polkadot recently.
Certainly. We started this Saturday kind of session of tweets where we try to be a bit more like educational, I think. Yeah, that was probably where I think where that came from. So I guess I'll just take a step back and I introduced at the beginning. I said we started by bringing Ethereum compatibility to Polkadot. But what does that actually mean, right? Like, why is that important? Polkadot's built with Substrate. So it's a completely different framework for building blockchains. And because it's a layer 0, you won't deploy a game, for instance, directly to Polkadot. But you would deploy a game to a layer 1 that's built on top of Polkadot, such as Moonbeam. And Substrate doesn't have like an EVM unless you specifically include the EVM palette. But on top of that, there's kind of a lot that you need to do to provide the same sort of Ethereum developer experience that devs are used to on Ethereum. And so it's not just EVM, but you have to provide lots of different tools, compatible wallets, unified account structure, all these things to make it feel just like Ethereum. And so we've been very focused on that. And that's kind of where they're coming from. So beyond Ethereum compatibility, we strive to connect to all the other chains within Polkadot and make it so that we're not just connected, but we can actually share features and functionality. Because part of the idea behind Polkadot is that each chain can kind of specialize in something and then share its feature set with others.
Yeah, I guess continuing the conversation, we are also built on Substrate like every other operating team, and The best part is that we don't have to think about we don't have to build our own security. We can use a shared layer of security. All of us share between each other. And we can work with each other natively, essentially. So each project delivers components to the full solution. On our end at Ergonomics, we see our role as bringing the data sources from IoT robotics to the community. So everybody who is within Polkadot ecosystem could communicate to our chain where we have connections to all the equipment. And then equipment that is connected to our chain can, for example, talk to Crust and then pass data to their storage layer, and then can run smart contracts, and potentially can even trade. So yeah, essentially the idea is that every chain specializes on their own unique strength, and then we can all share each other's benefits.
Yeah, we're talking about connectivity. So the goal of Oak is to automate the stuff across chains. So basically, we're still early. We're working with the 3 parachains, which includes MB. So basically, what we're doing, so like even today, if you want to create a strategy on NASDAQ, and you want to do auto trading, manage your asset on the stock exchange, you have to write a bot, right? Like it's a program, and you have to find an AWS server to deploy the bot, right? It requires a tremendous amount of engineering skills. That alone, that if you don't do it securely, you lose your money. If somebody got your credentials to your exchange, steal your money. So what we want to achieve is that basically we are creating this composable automation stuff for you to set up your strategy, trading on DeFi, like decentralized exchanges, without needing to code. Basically, we set up, okay, these are the triggers. For example, we're working with Moonbeam, and the developers on Moonbeam want this feature. They're saying, okay, we're distributing tokens to our users every day. And right now, we're manually doing that because there's really easy way on blockchain. Can you help us? So the solution we created for them is that to give them a composable automation dashboard. So they can set up the triggers. They want to say, okay, 8 a.m. UTC every day. I want to call this smart contract function and distribute my reward to all the users of my application. So he set up the trigger and he set up the action, all from a graphical user interface without needing to code. So that's what we're doing here at Oak Network. Right now, we can trigger all those actions by time and by custom signals like smart contract state.
Yeah, awesome, guys. And for Crust, basically what we're doing is, like I said before, decentralized cloud storage, but within Polkadot, we actually built an app within the Polkadot mainnet called Polkadot Files. And using that, you can easily deploy like websites or decentralized apps, basically just by like dragging and dropping or just clicking like add a file. And you can start hosting stuff straight from the Polkadot mainnet or Polkadot.js. Yeah, which you can also do it through our mainnet too, but it makes it easier to have it natively in the mainnet. So yeah. Another question for you guys is, what made you decide to want to build on Polkadot specifically? Because we all know there's so many different chains out there. What made you want to join the Polkadot community?
The technology. The stuff we're talking about today is just tip of the iceberg. So Kevin mentioned the connectivity is actually a one-of-a-kind messaging protocol. So if you're in crypto already, you probably have heard a lot of cross-chain technology, such as Layer 0, XR, what's the other? Hyperlink. So all of them, if you look at the architecture, are similar. So they all have 3 layers: the messaging transport, the validation, and the top is the protocol. Protocol means the language developers are talking, like communicating with. Polkadot, I think Polkadot's cross-chain messaging protocol is by far the most secure, just because the way it's constructed, because everybody need to pass the authentication to become a parachain in order to use it, in order to get connected. So a lot of technology, we'll just go over them in the topic.
And I just wanted to follow up on what Chris had said about automation, and I just wanted to emphasize the trustlessness and the unstoppability of it, which is we're all very interested in furthering that, and so I just wanted to highlight that. In terms of why we chose Polkadot, Polkadot makes it relatively easy to launch a chain. There's a lot of ongoing upgrades that you need to do. There's maintenance. You need developers who understand, the architecture of Substrate, and so there's some complexity. But generally speaking, Polkadot solves a lot of the hurdles for getting a chain started, right? One being getting validators to secure your chain. So if you launch a brand new chain that's, a derivative of Ethereum, and you're getting some validators and things like that, somebody can, if you're proof of stake, somebody can put a price tag on the cost to attack the chain. And if you're a small chain, that could be a relatively small number. With Polkadot, somebody needs to attack all of Polkadot, because all of our security comes from the strength of Polkadot itself. Not from the size of our individual chain, but the Polkadot backend itself. And when you're setting up your chain, you don't want to focus on how are the nodes going to communicate with each other, and the minutia of very low-level communication details between the nodes and things like that. You want to focus on building your chain, getting users, getting apps built, and so that's what being built on Polkadot allows us to do.
Yeah, very good point. And I share it a lot. For us, we actually started building early use cases on Ethereum because we developed ergonomics for around 7 years already. And we saw the limitations on Ethereum of the number of transactions we can run and the cost of them. So we were looking for alternatives. But we understood that if we wanted to build our own chain, we probably would have, we definitely would have to think about our own security, and we probably won't be able to get the size that one of the top 10 chains has. So that's was one of the major reasons for us to start building on Polkadot, because it was relatively easy. I wouldn't say it's easy, but it was relatively easy to create our own blockchain and get the use cases that we needed without worrying about providing our own security, essentially. So that was the major reason for us. And then as we started to be in the ecosystem, we actually started to see how collaborative the ecosystem is, and how this cross-chain communication layer that my colleagues talked about is actually a killer feature of Polkadot. Because now, in addition to us having our own blockchain with a throughput only for us, we also get access trustless to all the technologies that my colleagues built here. So in addition to us not having to worry about security, we also get additional benefits of being in the Polkadot ecosystem.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think for us, two factors. One, the XCMP, because, for decentralized storage, you want as many people as possible to use your product, and if everybody has their own chain, it's difficult, right? Because you have to use cross-chain bridges, and cross-chain bridges have a lot of problems. Like, a lot of them are not decentralized, and they get attacked really easily. So Polkadot solves both of those problems with the XCMP, and you can very easily and natively connect with every single Polkadot parachain. Or like even people that build on top of Moonbeam, for example, like now we can also connect to them. So that is one really awesome thing about Polkadot. The second thing is also Substrate is really easy to use. I mean, there's a learning curve, just like Kevin talked about, but once you learn it, there's a lot of things that you can take from other projects that they've already built out. Like, for example, a governance module. When we're focusing on decentralized storage, that's already something huge and difficult to build. We don't want to have to worry about building a governance module, right? Or like these other little modules that they're just gonna like take away from what we want to focus on. So Substrate makes it like super easy to launch your own chain because you can copy what other people have already done and just focus on what you want to focus on. And then again, the shared security, that's like the most awesome part. But yeah, sorry, can you pull these questions back up again? So now that we've talked about the advantages of Polkadot, what problems do you currently see with Polkadot? And what do you think is causing token price to decrease at this time? Heated question.
It's an interesting question, maybe because I'm dumping thoughts on the market. No investment in the life. Well, it's the market, right? Like bears and bulls. So I entered the blockchain space since 2017. So I have experienced two bulls. It's always like this, but the last bear market was much worse. Like right now we're in the middle of the bear, and many people look at it and got scared. But last time, like 3-4 years ago, it was much worse. The problem is that we are not doing enough stuff in the Bay Area, and we're not giving out enough rewards to our audience attendings at those events. To our hosts. And we're trying to do more. So actually, there are a lot of Polkadot events going on in the summer, centered around like July timeframe, July, August. So you will be seeing a lot of like much bigger ones Polkadot events. Polkadot, the ecosystem is sponsoring all the community events. For the big ones, we throw a lot of money in them. So good booze and food over there. Stay tuned.
And when we say Polkadot, it's the token holders. So it's the community deciding that this is a worthwhile event. We want to support it, and so we're very grateful to the community for allowing this event to happen. And thank you to UVA so much for organizing this.
Thank you.
So when we speak a little bit about hiccups or speed bumps or things like that, one thing I noticed is that parachains don't get to operate for free. They need to lock up a certain amount of DOT, whether they just go out themselves. This is through an auction model, right? So there's no fixed price. It's not like 100,000 DOT and you get your chain. It varies. It's a lease. The lease period varies. It could be up to almost 2 years, and the price is determined by the market through this auction. At the end of the 2-year period, or however long your parachain lease is, all the DOT is returned. And so it's just over the course of that period, it's just the opportunity cost of what could be done during the time. Now, this lease setup has created the potential for a couple of hiccups and speed bumps. One is that there are teams that have been around for a while that want to renew their leases. There are new teams that want to get in as well, so there's some competition. Maybe a team forgets to renew their lease or thinks that there wouldn't be as much competition and maybe they didn't have enough money to buy or renew the slot. So I'd say that's a hurdle. But it's not an insurmountable one. It's something where awareness and familiarity and perhaps there could be services that make it easier for teams to maintain this. Maybe this parachain has a service model or something like that.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah, I actually agree with this as well. But it's a double-edged sword. Saying basically, the auction model is what enables, in a way, shared security. So it enables the benefit, but the process around it is has obviously its hiccups as well, and but overall I would say that's still the model that is delivering really good results, even though it has some limitations. And I guess another thing is Polkadot is unique with is the governance model. So Polkadot promotes participation of all token holders in decision making. So as a token holder, you actually can vote on different decisions within the community. And I think it's a good thing, but obviously it also has some complications as well. And when there needs to be a debate between many people and decisions have to be made, it's slower than some more centralized approaches. But that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just a thing that sometimes maybe slows down things.
Yeah, I think it's really cool because Polkadot really is fully decentralized. Like, people voted on having this event that we are having here today. Like, it wasn't just like me that decided or us panelists. Like, I had to go out there and put a proposal out, and like the whole community, like people that own DOT, got to vote and like decide if we actually should have this event. So I think it's really cool, but also it is a double-edged sword. Like, there's some events that people now, they're like posting about on Twitter, like, oh, should we be doing this or doing that, you know? But also at the same time, I think it's cool that you can have a big enough community that people are debating online, like which way you should be going. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword, but I think it's cool, I don't know. So now that we've talked about the advantages and the disadvantages, maybe we can talk about where we see Polkadot going in the future. Do we know about any technical updates or anything they're planning to launch? And how do you think Polkadot can improve to keep the momentum going and recover for the bull market?
It'll be boring. So how many audience here categorize themselves as developers? About 5 or 6. So who have built a cool dApp on blockchain? You have built one? Who have built like a very cool dApp or any dApp? Decentralized application blockchain. Every developer has built it. Who is trying to launch a blockchain? Oh, you're trying to. You should choose Polkadot as we talked about.
Do you give grants?
Yeah, we'll talk about grants in the next question. Basically, Polkadot gives a lot of grants, and every powerchain has their own grant program. Everybody's different. Like in general, for Polkadot, I think it's for enhancing, like building tools, enhancing the structure of the Polkadot ecosystem. And I think for maybe for EVM, smart contract applications. Yeah, every chain is different. You need to check out the criteria of the grant program. But we welcome developers. So Oak Network, we just give out 2 grants last month. One is $25, the other is $25,000. Small teams building for about 6 to 8 weeks. We just look at your portfolio, like what do you have to do before? Yeah, or we can just blindly trust you if you say you're a great developer. But the question is, I think, is about what's new about Polkadot, right? There are a lot of technology, but I didn't go down into the details. Polkadot is spending a lot of money doing great things in this bear market. I think that what makes it stand out this year. So if you go to all the crypto events, like a big event in Denver, Consensus, you will see huge booth of Polkadot with all of us inside. Basically, they made a huge space, and for every parachain, they just give out a booth to us for free, which is amazing, which costs about like $15,000 or $2,000 each, like booth at the big conferences. They're doing a lot of stuff, they're spending a lot of money. I think Polkadot is building a great community and great marketing in this very site.
So I'll talk a little bit about governance. I'll keep it really short. With the first edition of Polkadot governance, it was kind of, all right, here's what we want to do. Everybody take a look at it. Let's take our time. Let's vote. And the voting process was the same, regardless of whether you want to spend, generally the same. If you want to spend $100 or $100,000. And at each point, it was kind of like stop, wait, review, look at it. Okay, now with governance 2, it's revised so that if you only want to spend $100, you don't need to go and ask everybody. Obviously, if you want to spend a huge amount of funds in Polkadot Treasury, then there is a longer governance process. And there are separate tracks and considerations for the severity of the upgrade that you want to do. Right? So if you want to upgrade the entire chain and change very specific protocol parameters, then you need to have the top level of permission. But if you want to just do something like somebody's throwing a meetup and they need $500, that doesn't need the entire community to come to agreement on that. But you can have a subset of people review it and look at it and say, yep, this looks good. So this is rolling out, it's been rolled out to Polkadot, and it's something that parachain teams are adopting. And it's a very good development, and it's something that other blockchains really do not have. They do not have a governance module that is this advanced, and this authentic and genuine, and self-upgrading, really, where the community determines the direction of where the chain is going.
Yeah, there's so many things that are already built that we still need to integrate. That we're still catching up, I feel like. But yeah, I agree that governance layer is something that is very exciting, and how it's developing for the past 6 months, a year, is incredible. And the good part is that we can also take that and implement that within our chain to make decisions within our chain. So as we were discussing that, like each team doesn't have to build all the components themselves. So on our end, we are just catching up a little bit and planning to implement the modules that are now widely tested in the ecosystem within our parachain mostly. And working on streamlining the onboarding process and use cases more. So yeah.
Sorry, let's check if this is working. Yeah, I think all of those are good points. I guess I would also talk about just like on the technical side a little bit, keep it short, that there will be some technical updates like making Polkadot, the network itself, like faster, and also the UI UX, like making it simpler, easier to use and understand. And also they're rolling out these Polkadot blockchain academies, because like we mentioned earlier, the learning curve for learning Substrate, which is the framework that to build on Polkadot you need to use. But yeah, so Substrate has a little bit of a learning curve, so they're rolling out these academies once every 6 months that you can join, and they'll literally teach you in this academy 6 weeks, and they'll teach you like every day for multiple hours how to use Substrate, and like you'll even do quizzes and exams. It's literally like a summer school in a way, like a crash course for Polkadot, and it's a really awesome program. Like the first couple ones, people were actually hired to work at like the Web3 Foundation through the program, so it's a pretty awesome program to help anybody learn how to use Polkadot. And I think they're going to be doing more. There's going to be one in Berkeley this year. So, yes, at UC Berkeley. So it'll be in our backyards. Yes, oh yeah, that's the other thing. They're free. The programs are free. You do not have to pay. For some of them, not the one in Berkeley, for the other ones, they are also paying for your lodging. So like for hotels, if you are going there, because they had one in like Buenos Aires and I think Argentina, and they also have one in London. So that's pretty cool. All right, so now that we've talked a lot about Polkadot, how can people get involved if they want to start building?
Yeah, this is the fun part. By the way, we are looking to hire a developer who graduated from the previous PBA, Polkadot Blockchain Academy curricular program. So basically, you get a certificate from Polkadot, and it's authorized by the university. So it's an official university program, and they mainly teach Rust, and we're looking to hire one of the engineers from the previous program. So last one was, I think, January, February timeframe, and 5-6 months later, this one will be at UC Berkeley. So if you're interested, definitely check it out. It's a free learning, like 5-week learning curriculum. You will be learn at UC Berkeley, hang out with, I think, 8 other students. Yeah, and he taught by the founder of Polkadot, Gavin Wu, who is also the co-founder of eFear back in 2014. He's the original author who wrote the Yellow Paper on Computer. Sorry. But I have known him for a long, not like personal level, but he has a great reputation as a great engineer in the blockchain space. So in terms of how you can engage with the Polkadot events, first of all, come to our event series in the summer, one every month, and we have several big ones during the Polkadot Blockchain Academy. Second of all, if you're a developer, we're very hungry for developers. So if you're a developer, check out the grant program. You can contact us directly. So let's say you have a cool idea, you want to implement that. Maybe you can get $5,000 to like $25,000 just building that. A lot of other people like marketing, spread the words. I'll leave that to Kevin at the time.
There's tons of ways to get involved. I feel very warmly welcomed into Polkadot. The community is incredible. We're all friends here, and this is something that I don't think is replicated in the same way in other ecosystems. And speaking to the education aspect, right? Every blockchain can throw a conference, right? They can all fund a big conference and throw a party. But not every blockchain has a fully paid for academy, has treasury-funded meetups regularly happening around the world. There are ones in Argentina, in Peru, in Europe, in Asia, everywhere. And not just like the major cities, but in really tiny cities as well. And that's because of ambassadors who, they go through training and they volunteer, but then they're equipped, with funding, resources, swag. They're empowered to go and show off the Polkadot community really in the best light. And so they're not like on their own. They're given the full force and backing of this major network. So the community and the resources, and also Polkadot supports its chains, right? So if you're launching a blockchain, you're not on your own. There are resources to help you. There are other teams to help you. There's grants available. And you also have this hungry environment of users who are very used to trying out new blockchains from Polkadot. And so simply by launching on Polkadot, they can say, hey, what's this? I want to try it out. So you get a boost just via that way. So as for how you can get involved, if you're a developer, we have lots of hackathons. Moonbeam's running one right now. It's called the Bare Necessities Hackathon. And it just started actually yesterday. Goes for about a month. If you're not a developer, we have an ambassador program. And there's lots of other ways. Meetups, I would say, come to the future Polkadot meetups.
The developers community is, as far as I know, it's the most active developers community out of all blockchain networks. So it is incredible achievement of the Polkadot network. And And yes, as my colleagues mentioned, you get a lot of support as a developer. And then each parachain team also promotes their own either grant programs or different ambassador programs. So check out all the parachain teams, their website, and see whether you are interested about this specific use case that parachain team builds, and what are the offers from the parachain team to support you as a developer. On our end, we do support mostly final use cases, so we mostly support somebody who would want to work with devices, ranging from if you want to set up your smart home that would be powered by Polkadot communication and cryptography, we help you do that, and all the way to giving grants to people who are integrating new types of equipment for us.
Awesome. Yeah, and I would say if you are based in SF, come back to our next event. We are doing a giveaway. If you come to 4 out of 6 events, you can win some dot, okay? Roughly $100 worth of dot. So, or if it goes up, maybe more. But yeah, so definitely stop by our other events. Our next events aren't going to be panels. They're going to be more like talking about one of our projects and how we use Polkadot and more what we do, like a little more in depth. But don't worry, I'm a marketing girl, so it's not going to be over your head if you're not in depth. All right. Okay, so yeah. Any questions from all of you guys? Feel free to ask, and I'll pass the microphone. I already asked one earlier. I'm going back here. We'll come back though.
This is really not a technical question, but aside from your own chain, outside of your own chains, who has the best swag?
We have this tote bag that at every conference you should stop by our booth first, grab a tote bag, and then you can put all the swag you pick up along the way.
I had a special edition white oak sweatshirt that was really, really nice.
I gotta say, swag, best swag.
I personally like my crust sweat, crusties.
The engineering question. Who initiates and drives the engineering initiatives? Polkadot.
Mostly Gavin focused a lot of time on the cross-chain messaging. But to be honest, I'm very surprised that there are a lot of people, like people that who you don't know, like they're just from the community, from the internet. Like they're not like working in Paradigm. Some of them work from the Paradigm team, like from Moonbeam and Oak. But there's still a lot of community contributors, like who you don't directly connect with, but whose name you see on GitHub every day. That's what I observe.
Yeah, I think there's like specific teams that work on certain different stuff, but they're like their own kind of entities. Yeah, and obviously also us parachains, like we also do a lot of work for Polkadot too. Just like there's also like grants, right? That'll be like, oh, can you figure out how to do this, and you'll get a grant for it, stuff like that.
Not just as one. So they mentioned there are a lot of existing modules, right? So it's amazing. So for example, we need governance. We just pick up the code from some blockchain and put it in our blockchain. Then we have governance. And similar palettes include identity, multi-signature. And we didn't even do our own staking system. We stole the code from Moonbeam, which is still, yeah. I mean, it's open source. Be careful. It's open source. Yeah, we just fork the code from Moonbeam. And there are 30 similar modules for the blockchain. So basically, it's customizable. If you're launching a chain, you would say, okay, I want this, that. You might want them all, but it's costly to clean that. So just pick up what's necessary.
I just thought of something that I wanted to mention earlier. So there's this old saying in crypto called "Don't roll your own crypto." particularly with regard to randomness. And this is because every team that launches like a blockchain kind of says, well, you know, we actually have this cool, creative new way of inventing randomness or something. And I don't mean within a chain, but I kind of mean like with like a wallet or something, when you need a source of entropy to like create a new account, right? And so if you have this new blockchain, and we're going to create a new wallet and a new source of randomness, it's like you should probably use one of the standard randomness libraries that's already been tested, that's been out there for a while, because it's tried and trusted, right? And so for Polkadot, right, it might make sense to use, you know, one of the modules that's already been built, that's open source, the democracy one that's out there, you know, rather than writing your own unless you have like a pressing use case. Not only is this faster, right, but you know, it might make more sense from a development side.
Any other questions?
So you mentioned the Polkadot campaign in the East Bay, and you mentioned the talk series in San Francisco. What prompted your geographical decisions, and where do you see the weight of the ecosystem going forward geographically in the future? Can you repeat the question?
Like, why did you choose the Bay?
We are here, so
That's our.
This is where
yeah, exactly. So I guess Bay Area makes a lot of sense because there's strong developers community here, and even though Polkadot was originally founded in Europe, it has a lot of presence there. We see that there's a lot of developers community here, a lot of interest here, and even already members of the community in Polkadot were here. So we thought that we need to get together and start launching events here. But it's only our group here. As we mentioned before, there are events all over the globe, on all continents, and yeah, they're spread out. So it's just we are here.
Yeah, because of us, we have been shit posting on their governance forum, asking them to come to the Bay Area because, like, Bay Area still has the largest talent pool, like in terms of engineering in the world, right? Like, people have been talking about the engineer left of the Bay Area, but I see the stats. It's 3% of people like net outflow from the Bay Area in the past 2 years. So 3% of people left. We still have 97% of engineers here. So talent pool are huge. Everybody should come to the Silicon Valley. And we're not fighting with other blockchains in terms of like us getting acquiring technical talent from them. We're actually fighting with industries like AI, right? Trying to get the best talent into the ecosystem.
Follow-up question on that is, if you're a startup with no revenue or profit, then being in the Bay Area kind of makes sense. But once you start getting traction, revenue, and profit, won't the taxes be burdensome and all your grants get retroactively taxed as well?
No, I mean, okay, if you're a startup, then you're spending all your money, so there's
If you're a
nothing
startup
to be
making
taxed.
money, then you get taxed.
How big would this startup be? It's got to be a pretty big startup for that to happen.
Oh,
Honestly.
it's a trade-off. Well, kind of
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, that is. I don't know. It just depends because the other thing is like, can you even recruit people to work for you if like you're in some rural areas? It might be harder. But with like crypto, the nice thing is like most of us are fully remote, so you can have people all around the world. Like our team is all around the world, but we still like I'm still here, but I'm also born here. So yeah, I think it just depends. But we have a lot of people now like in Crust in like Nigeria, not team members, but just community members that are like really just interested in Crust and like just building with us. And like same with like other countries all around. So.
I was just going to add that I think AI is like super interesting and it's fascinating. And if you've been into AI for a long time, you should jump into it, right? But if you're looking for something new, right? Like you're saying, should I go into Web3 or should I go into AI? Should I go into VR? You know, AI is the flagship one right now, right? So it's very easy to go into it right now. if you're coming into Web3 right now, you definitely get a certain kind of respect as kind of like an OG, right? Because you're entering at a time where things are not at the top, where you're seeing sad and depressing news headlines, and you're saying, no, this is still the place that I want to be in and I want to get into. And that certainly gives you a leg up when you're applying for jobs or when you're starting a project and things like that, simply by being here at a time when it's less popular. Why? Because things will get better and they will pick back up and they will have lots more people flooding in, but you'll have already been here for several years, and so you'll have that leg up.
We've been waiting for you.
How about Web3 mobile gaming? Like, I'm developing myself for marketplace, but it will be much changing all of that stuff. So, what is the point of your podcast?
Oh, how can Polkadot help games?
Yeah.
How can Polkadot help game developers?
Sure, so you mentioned multi-chain, right? Do you use any NFTs in your game? That's great. Yeah, that's awesome. That's precisely. So Moonbeam connects to many other chains via general message passing. So what that means is you could have an NFT on Ethereum, right, that's been around for 5 years, and then you can tap into that and access it and use it on Moonbeam in the game. Yeah. Sure. So Moonbeam is not the bridge, but there are lots of bridges which send messages, right? And so the message could include value, so it could include funds, or it could just be like calling a contract. It could be reading state. It could be doing any arbitrary thing that you want. And so what that would allow you to do, right, is do things like lock up an NFT on another chain, or make a trade, or make a swap, or anything like that. So the idea is that rather than going into your wallet and switching chains and bridging, getting a new gas token, you can just stay in kind of your home base on Polkadot, and then you can interact with any chain. And then, so what I mean is, as a developer, right, when you're designing this, all these general message passing protocols, they just require a destination chain, they require a contract address you want to interact with, and then you just send your payload. So it's really no more complex, than just calling a contract that's on the same chain.
1 second. We are kind of way over time for this panel, but if you have more questions, please come up to Kevin after, or any of our panelists. But thank you all so much for coming to this panel event. And we still got more drinks and food, so please stay around and chat. We've got this place till 9, so just stay in networking, whatever.